Ta-na-na-na-na-na-na. Bueno, ya estamos de regreso aquí en Mujeres y Yo. Y miren este guapísimo hombre que ven aquí sentado. No lo trajimos solo por guapo, no señor. Lo trajimos por inteligente. It's like, what the fuck is she talking about?
I don't understand you.
So, vamos a estar hablando hoy de criptomoneda. ¿Qué es criptomoneda? ¿De dónde salió? ¿Cómo podemos invertir en ella? Todas las preguntas que tengamos, yo voy a hacer como su voz aquí, más o menos desde que anunciamos el programa, nos han estado escribiendo con las preguntas más frecuentes acerca de este tema, así que le voy a estar preguntando a Joseph. A partir de ahora vamos a entrar en nuestra faceta de inglés, Spanglish. So
right,
Joseph, welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No, we're very happy to have you here. We invited you because of all you're doing on your social media. I mean, I've been learning about crypto a lot through your
Great.
Instagram for the last month. So I just say like, okay, they need to know about this.
I agree. I think it's very important to know, and a lot of people don't know about it at all walks of life. So I'm very happy to come here and share what I know, and hopefully everyone learns a little something today.
Yeah, so we just don't take like, we didn't took like Joseph from the street. No, it wasn't like that. He has a lot of experience. He's been working with crypto since 2014. Previous, you were working in technology for
Right.
10 years.
Yes.
You were working for Apple.
Mhm.
You were born in Texas.
Yes.
Like, tell us a little more about your career, your experience, and how you got to work into crypto.
Right on. Yes, I guess I kind of got started working in technology with Apple. I guess I started now about 17 years ago with Apple.
Wow.
And from there, like,
Baby.
I was. It was one of my first little jobs. Yeah. I developed with Apple over 10 years, kind of really examining, how technology was being used by people. And one of the big driving forces I had there was what we could do to empower people to, to live a more enriched life. When we were making our products and services, yes, we're making just a phone that you can connect to the internet, but really you're making devices that people can connect to their grandmother who lives far away, across the country, across the world. And so I was really connected to how technology could empower people. And I was working for Apple at the time when I first came across cryptocurrency. I had first come across it and realized, like, is this some kind of fake internet money? Like, what is this? And I was really intrigued by the fact that I could use my computer to do this thing called mining, and it makes my computer really hot, and then it spits out this fake internet money, this Bitcoin.
Yeah.
In 2014, when I was first starting to mine at my apartment, I was living with my friend, and it was a short-lived experience with crypto because he did the math, and he's like, as much as we're paying in power to run your computer, because Bitcoin was not very expensive at that time, what you're getting out, we're paying more for power, and this is a waste. And so, and truth be told, like I kind of stopped. I'm like, I guess you're right. But with the knowledge I have now, I wish I had then, because had I kept at it, the price valuation of Bitcoin did grow, and it would have been a lot more lucrative.
This is more than power now.
From there, after Apple, I kind of looked to expand, in the world of technology, and I moved into finance technology, working for just a finance, a money management firm. I've been working there for about 3 or 4 years. And from there, that was where I really started to learn about what the finance world was. I didn't study it in school. I studied physics and music and was in rock bands and stuff.
What?
And, but,
it's a musician telling us something about crypto.
Right? Hey,
this world is crazy. No, I love it.
It can come from anybody right now, and it's coming from me. So, but from there, that's where I began to learn about what the structure of Wall Street looked like and kind of the legacy finance, and it was really helpful for me to learn. And alongside of that is where I was kind of like diving in more back into cryptocurrency, because real quick side venture is that at that time I was subletting my old apartment to someone in Hollywood, and I was living outside of the city, and they were supposed to give me 2 months notice when they left, and they didn't do that. They said, I'm leaving in 4 days. I'm going back home to mine and invest in cryptocurrency. You should too. Bye.
Wow!
I was like, what is this?
Sign from God.
Yeah, it was. And so I guess at that time it really made me take another look at it. And I've been obsessed with it ever since. I've been very much involved in kind of seeing, learning about what it is, and I hope to talk about that today. But also just kind of like, how is the world reacting to it, and how are they using it, and is this going to be something that graduates from just being fake internet money to something that could be actually helpful and useful? And I think there's a lot of examples of how that is playing out today.
So how does it work? Like it's like what I hear is like it's a blockchain and it's based on the truth.
Yep.
You trust the other person or whatever. I mean the system.
Right. Yes.
It's a way to, because it's not like something that you can touch,
right?
Like build, which is also amazing because you know how many bacteria is in
yeah, it's
$1. It's
a healthy choice for currency.
It's like amazing,
right?
I don't have to touch anything apart from my computer.
Right? Yeah.
Love it.
Well, I mean, to your point, there's a lot to unpack about it because it's not something physical, and we come from a world where I need something physical to touch to believe that it's real.
Yeah.
And so, real quick, what it is it's the first of this new asset class that's emerging, all right? And it's pretty much wonderful that we get to live in this time where a new asset class is coming to the table, maybe our great-grandparents, our grandparents before us were around when stocks came out and like, oh, there's this new thing. It's a piece of paper and you own part of a company. You buy that. People were very hesitant even at that time because it's like, what do you mean? I prefer, livestock, and I prefer agriculture, gold and silver and cash. What is this new asset class? And, just a reminder for those that did begin to participate in the new asset class of stocks at that time, if they got in and held, they were handsomely rewarded for it. Now, we're not going to say that 100% that can happen with crypto also, although I believe that it will. This is a new asset class. It's a digital asset class. So Bitcoin in specific, it's one of those things you can talk to in quite a bit of depth, just like you could with the internet. How does the internet work? What does it do is really the bigger and more important thing. It connects everyone in the world, right? The Bitcoin is a scarce digital asset in which there's only a fixed amount of them that will ever exist. It began in 2009, and there's 21 million units of these digital units.
There is no more.
There's no more, and there never will be more. It's a scarce digital asset.
Okay.
And so what happens is that we can exchange those assets using our computers, our devices, etc. And what you mentioned about the blockchain is really the underlying technology that allows it to be a trustless system, a trust minimized system.
Okay.
And we can dive into a little bit of depth with what that is exactly. Yes, to be a digital currency that actually is scalable and works, and it's been running for 10 years without a hitch. There's been other previous versions of digital cash, but because of the issues of centralization, where it's like one company created it, we created this digital cash, and we distribute it. The centralizing nature of that is where you have things like greed, corruption, and issues that can emerge, as well as issues with double spending problems, because there's not each asset is not digitally unique, and there's not a very fixed set amount of them in those scenarios. So you can have issues with, I'm going to spend this, but no, while it's processing, I spend it again. That's what they call a double spend problem.
Okay.
And blockchain helps solve for this because kind of the nature of what it's designed. Should I go into a little bit about that?
I think it's a little bit deep.
Yeah. So just like explaining the internet, it can get very complex. And if you want to follow, me or other sources on the internet, we can find out more about what a blockchain is. But the internet connects people on a worldwide scale. We have a new digital asset. It is fixed supply. There's only 21 million of them, and it's something that it enables us to interact and exchange direct peer-to-peer, versus like Venmo or some other thing where it's like, I feel like I can Venmo you $5 and it's directly to you.
Yeah.
What's actually happening is like, I'm sending this to my bank. My bank says, do we want to let him do this? Yes or no? Yes.
Still,
they send it to
you need
you.
a bank.
You need a bank. You need something to process it.
The idea with crypto is like you don't depend on the bank.
Right.
That's the idea now.
You become your own bank. is
Oh,
what
Jesus.
you don't need a third party to.
Dun, 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 dun.
It's something that can solve for the unbanked people and the rich and everybody. Because when I send you Bitcoin with my device, it just broadcasts over the Bitcoin network.
Okay.
And the Bitcoin network is a bunch of machines running all across the world that are validating transactions, being like,
Yeah.
Joseph
and
sent
everyone
this.
can do that, yeah?
Yeah,
Whoever
it's a-
wants to buy the machine and start doing it, and then they get paid with Bitcoins
Right.
for doing that. Yeah?
Yes, it's a permissionless system. So to your point, anyone can get up and running. They can set up a wallet. They can set up a mining rig if they want. You need no permission to start it. It's an open source for the people network and code. And when I send you something, there's no third party that says yes or no. There's no third party that's going to be able to stop it. It sends directly to you no matter where you are in the world. It's a borderless technology that is really going to enable us to, unite across the world. And I think that when more blockchain products and things come out, like Bitcoin, where they are inherently borderless and they are a world uniting force, I think that that's going to help the mindset of future generations and regulators to kind of look at the fact that we need to be looking at a more unified world rather than based upon divisions and separation.
It does work like the stocks sometimes. I mean, when you want to buy, because I remember it was very cheap at some time,
Right.
at some point, and I didn't buy, and then it was like maybe 2 years ago, I don't remember, it went super up, like to 15,000,
Yep.
and then everyone was like, Juliana, this is the time you get to invest because this is going up. So I
Right.
invested just
Then?
then.
Yeah.
And then I was like, no way, like it went down again. And I was like, I don't know when this is going to go back to 15,000. So it wasn't the right time. I didn't have the right advice.
Right.
Like they say, like if it was like from 4,000 to 15,000 in a few
Yeah,
months.
exactly.
It was that.
Right. Yeah, it was
And
very
so,
fast
yeah.
movement there.
I invested just at that point, and then now it's like 13,000, something like that.
Right now it's sitting at just over 10,000 right now,
10,000,
but it
okay.
recently hit a new yearly high of about 13,000.
Okay.
But to your point, is it like a stock? Is it a bond? It goes up, it goes down. There's these valuation changes that happen even with comparing the U.S. dollar to the Mexican peso, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes the dollar is worth more or less, and like you can get more pesos or less pesos with it. There's these valuations but they're relatively minor. They're not
Okay.
massive. It's not suddenly like I can get twice as many pesos or 4 times. There's still these the changes in the price and how they work. And something like this, it's being so new and being something that isn't fully found adoption where there's like, everyone is using it at this point in time. It's kind of a small pool. If you consider like all of the cryptocurrencies combined, Bitcoin, all of the other wild ones you've heard about, all of them
What
combined.
other names do we have? Like,
There's
can you mention
Litecoin, Ethereum, basic attention token.
There is like some super weird kinds, like something with porn or
Oh, yeah.
drugs, or the weirdest names that, for me personally, I was like, I wouldn't invest my
Right.
money in a cryptocurrency that says like the porn cryptocurrencies. Like, ooh,
Exactly, and I mean, I wouldn't recommend investing in anything that you don't think you believe in the use case for. Like with a cryptocurrency, anyone can create one. Like you can go on a YouTube video and like look how to like set one up and make your own. Just because you make a digital thing that has digitally scarce and there's only a certain amount of units doesn't mean that other people are going to use it, buy it, or put it on exchanges.
So basically, Bitcoin is just like the most like secure one. Like,
Right.
most
It is
of
the
the
most-
big companies use
Yes.
have Bitcoin.
The network behind it, the computers that are all banding together across the world in all these different countries that are all like dedicating their power to the Bitcoin network for 10 years running now. It's one of the largest forces of computing power out there right now, as far as validated transactions to make sure that your Bitcoin goes where you want it, when you want it, how you want it, and it's distributed across all computers. So even if like one country lost all their power, like, hey, let's shut down the Bitcoin, let's shut down all the power in this country, the rest of the countries in the world are still going to be
It's gonna
supporting
do
the
it.
network. And so what I wanted to mention about how kind of small this is, it's still early. I mean, it's been 10 years, but it's still early, is that all the Bitcoin and all the cryptocurrencies, all those porn tokens and all the weird things out there combined, they total to about just over $220 billion in their total valuation of
total.
all of them. and that's a big value. But when you consider like how big, you know, our currencies are across the world,
country.
you're talking about the, you know, the world's fiat currency is like something like $80 trillion, you know, and all of the gold in the world is somewhere around $11 trillion, you know. These are big numbers, and so, you know, yes, the volatility of it going up and down is going to happen to something that's super small when there's a lot of money that can come in and come out, right? And volatility of it, you know, being up and down and all around can scare some people because yes, it can be volatile and go down 80% when you buy something. But it's also the volatility that gives us the upward trajectory.
I love it. Like even when I invested when it was in the peak out there, I'm like, I'm just planning this for the future, like long future. So I'm not really like nervous. Oh, I'm gonna lose my money. No, I'm just happy I did it.
Right.
I mean, I could do it when it was 4,000 better, but still, like I'm just gonna wait, you know, 10, 20 more years, and it's going to raise a lot. It's like I'm really like very into now understanding crypto. I think it's a really great idea of investment and saving money.
I agree. On the long term, I think it's going to be a lot more exciting and make a lot less people sad. You know, if you're coming into this game and you're like, I want to make a bunch of money in 6 months, you know, where that is possible, it's also possible that you might see that value drop in 6 months. But if you look at the greater scale of things, you know, for those that have been burned and entered in when they first kind of entered the mass media and like, what's Bitcoin in 2017 when we all heard about it on a greater level, if you hopped in then, you probably lost some of your value if you held on to that. But I encourage everyone to zoom out on the chart and look further into the time scale, into the history. You will see a lot of times where Bitcoin was at a level and lost 80% of its value. And if you go back to Twitter and look back then, you're going to see people being like, this is crap, it's dead, I'm selling, don't do this ruined my life, or whatever. Don't invest more than you are willing to lose ever.
That's an advice I saw on your Instagram.
Yeah.
But it's an advice for everything, like stocks, market, and everything.
Right. Your money is important. Our money is important to us, you know? And it's like you don't want to put yourself in a position where we don't know the future. We don't know what's going to happen. So don't invest anything more than you lose. But if you zoom out on these charts, like even at those times, you know, that was happening when it was Bitcoin was 25 cents. People were like, I'm out. It lost it. It was $1. It's over. And it's like, well, I mean, if you just have some patience and if the money that you're putting into this is something, you know, you want to invest in yourself for a 10-year bet, you zoom out, you'll see that it continues to go up and to the right. And there's a lot happening where the world is really starting to embrace Bitcoin specifically, and making it grow from being fake internet money to being something that's really here to stay. You know, like for example, the New York Stock Exchange is like, you know, a renowned legacy, you know, institution that's been around helping keep Wall Street rock and roll for quite some time. They themselves, the owner of the New York Stock Exchange is a company called Intercontinental Exchange, ICE. And they, the Intercontinental Exchange, they own a lot of different exchanges all across the world, and they are going to be launching actually this month, which has me personally very excited. They're going to be launching a regulated crypto trading desk to the legacy finance market world of all the everyone on Wall Street, the banks and investment firms, where they're going to actually allow you to be participating in the Bitcoin market with large sums of money from an institutional standpoint. And you know, that if CNBC listing Bitcoin on their price on their TV, and the owners of the New York Stock Exchange making moves to get in there, Bank of America,
Facebook created its own cryptocurrency. Just like a few months, they announced the launch of this new cryptocurrency.
Yeah, Facebook's Libra token.
Token.
And what's nice about that is it's spreading awareness about what cryptocurrency or Bitcoin or any of these can actually do. You know, you consider Facebook, they have 2.5 billion users, and 1 billion of their users don't have bank accounts. Right? They're unbanked people. And if you fast forward up to see if the Facebook Libra sees its vision fully out, you know, if you have a Facebook account, you're going to be able to then exchange value with any Facebook user across the world, sending money back home to my friends and family. I'll be able
Exactly. It's like you avoid the currency exchange, you know, like for us, it's like, I don't know how convenient it is for us, like people like Latinos that we are exchanging, you know, money all the time. But I think it's a good idea that make it easy. Do you think Libra is more like a Venmo thing? rather than a cryptocurrency actually?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of an interesting question because cryptocurrency is like the underlying asset that allows a Venmo experience, right? Venmo experience is sending money back and forth, but like it's my U.S. dollars at the bottom line that are actually being exchanged, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, with Facebook's Libra, they plan to create a Venmo experience where, you know, yes, I can send money back and forth to other users, and then I can go to the airport or to, you know, the mall and use a Facebook basic ATM machine to exchange it back and forth to my currency. You know, they plan on making that experience, you know, like Venmo, and it solves for issues like, you know, if I want to send money back home to friends and family to other countries, I might have to use like Western Union or something like that. The fees are ridiculous. It takes forever. I got to go to this weird place and sign all this stuff. Yeah. It's kind of a pain. But with the Facebook Libra promise, it's like I'm just going to send you the Facebook Libra token, you go to your local mall or wherever, and you can pull that out into your local currency then. And arguably, you can do the same thing with Bitcoin, but Facebook has quite a name for itself in the world of technology, and so they're kind of pushing the debate forward.
But you can see if they are doing it, it's because it's a future in it. You
it's
know,
viable.
all the big, like, Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates is into cryptocurrency, Tony Robbins is also into, like, all these big names, you know, people that are changing the world, they are into cryptocurrency.
Yeah, Elon Musk is a big proponent of crypto. He thinks it's one of that's going to replace paper money, and I think that there's you know, lots of signs of that coming to fruition. It's a more efficient, more balanced, fair way of doing things. You know, even China right now, you know, there's a lot going on with debates, and we won't go into super depth about what's happening with the currency wars right now. But what China's looking to do because of Facebook, which is funny, you know, because of Facebook's move to create a new digital currency for their people of the world, China is looking at that and seeing the possibility of some of their currency being flowing into that, and that they need to come up with a solution for their paper money. So they are looking to replace their paper money with a cryptocurrency that they are designing.
Wow. That's cool.
It is cool. I mean, it's going to show you that this is not some fad, and that this is something where world powers are actually beginning to look at. This is not a game,
you know, like you can see, like, oh, this millennials, these internet people, they just like, they don't know what to do.
Right, and it can be easy to dismiss because, you know, we have Venmo and we have banking services, you know, here in North America and the United States and otherwise. But there are places in the world where, you know, we are starting to see signs of traditional banking and institutions like that really becoming to a place where they're not serving the people anymore. Like Venezuela is a perfect example. You know, there's a lot going on and there's a lot to be said about what's happening in the country, but specifically from a financial standpoint, their banking services and their fiat government currency is failing. It's going through hyperinflation.
It's not failing, it's failed.
It's gone, yeah. I mean, to your point, when it devalues like tens of thousands of percent, you know, you can't buy groceries anymore unless you have a...
Venezuelan black market is just crazy.
I mean, to your point, like they have to rely on themselves because they can't go to the bank unless, you know, the first digit of their ID, they can go one day out of the week to go to the bank and maybe get maximum $100 out, and that they try and live your life that way, and like you can't buy groceries again with a duffel bag full of cash, and you know, people can't afford food, and the minimum wage is to be devalued so terribly. So this is a terrible scenario of how the centralized currencies and units of exchange, if they're not disciplined, can provide us a difficult terrain to try and live our lives and grow our communities. So what happens is, from a Bitcoin perspective, Venezuela has definitely come up many times because in Venezuela there's millions of dollars a day being processed over the Bitcoin blockchain because it enables people to not need a bank to be open to and not have a bank tell them this is only how much you can pay. Yeah. They are able to send money directly to one another to run their businesses, to buy the goods and resources that they need.
So we need like more places where we can go and pay or buy stuff with crypto. Now it's many just going on, hotels, different things.
Right.
But we need more. It's the way that I think that the crypto will grow. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like,
that's the story of adoption.
Just gonna pay like parking or just gonna pay groceries everywhere with cryptocurrency.
Right.
That's the idea.
Yeah, I mean, that's the more that grows, the more it's going to become a part of the story, and it will. That's going to be when the adoption's happening. The way I look at it is like if you can get into the Bitcoin world before they accept it on Amazon, then you're in early, because eventually the online commerce is going to start processing and accepting these things, and that's going to be where it's really going to enable us to interact with the market and our communities directly.
That's my new question, and it's like, I know you're not here to give us like financial advising or anything,
right.
But give it to us.
But give it to us. Sure. I got a story to share. I'll say this. There's when we talk about the valuation of Bitcoin, could it go up, could it go down? There's a lot to be said about that, and there's a lot to be said about it going up. But here's something to consider. Is that we talked about how there's 21 million units of Bitcoin. It's a scarce digital asset, and it's probably it's the most popular, and it's something that's really helping communities across the world. But if we look at how many people we have in the world, there's 7.7 billion people in the world, right? Lots of people. If you
you cannot find your partner.
yeah. And where is Mr. Right? If you evenly distribute the 21 million Bitcoin over 7.7 billion people evenly, which would be nice, an even distribution, right? That gets you 0.003 Bitcoin per person, right?
Okay.
And as this story of assets in the world develops, things never really get evenly distributed. U.S. dollars are not evenly distributed over
we know
everyone.
That.
Yeah, we know. There's the 1% that has everything, and we share everything else. Right now, you can get one person's even share of Bitcoin for $30 right now.
Okay.
0.003 Bitcoin only costs you about $30, and that's...
So do it!
Yeah, and
don't go out to dinner tonight.
Yeah,
and invest in crypto.
For sure. I think it's a great first step for people to look at it. I think everyone, whether you believe in it, whether you want to invest in it or not, I think everyone should experiment. Experiment with it and interact with it. I posted some links on how to participate on my Instagram. But here in the United States, Coinbase is the largest U.S. exchange. All of the funds there are insured. They're trusted. Their price ticker is what CNBC uses to display the price of Bitcoin on their television station. And then BitEx, BITEX, is a popular exchange for a lot of the Latin communities and Latin countries in Mexico, and so basically I encourage everyone to just try it. Buy yourself some crypto, sell some crypto. Just try it and see how easy it is, and see how you didn't.
Or just don't sell it, keep it for your kids. For your future.
I agree. I think it's gonna. I personally am very bullish, as they say. Bulls and bears. Bulls mean we think it's going to the roof. Bears means we think it's gonna die. But I'm very bullish. I think that this year alone has been a good indication of what's to come. Bitcoin hit a low this year in January of 3,500, and now it's increased 3 times in the 7-8 months, pushing over 10,000. And since July, we've had a lot of stability at 10,000. It's gone up and down around 10,000 about 17 times, just sitting right there. So I think it's something they can definitely appreciate. I think everyone should educate themselves on what it is and how to interact with it. And I think that just like if you were one of the first Bitcoin owners 10 years ago, it's gone up 12,000% since then. A little bit can go a long way. So when you're looking at this, it's not like, oh, stocks. If I need to make a lot of money, I need to have a lot of money to do this. This is something that no one knows the future, and this is not financial advice, but a little bit can go a long way here. And I think the story is being told about this solving issues for everybody. The unbanked people of the world, but it also solves issues for people that do have money.
Yeah,
if I right now wanted to spend $200 million somewhere across the world, it takes weeks. It costs me thousands of dollars. It's slow, and right now you can transfer that amount over the Bitcoin blockchain. It happens very quickly with little to no fees. You can send us fractions of a penny. So it solves things for everybody, the rich, the poor, and it's just a really empowering experience. And so I encourage everyone to check it out.
Joseph, you have a lot to share with us. I love it. I really love it. So please share with us your social media.
Yeah.
Is it a public?
I'm on public now. I'm not check it out on Instagram. I like to post a lot in my stories about kind of how I feel the developments are happening with the market. I talk a little bit about price. But you can follow me on Instagram at theorionlion.com. TheOrionLion.
In Spanish pronunciation, the Orion Lion.
Yes, the Orion Lion.
So we look for you. All his social media will be posted on our social media. So check him out, especially the Insta stories. They're great. No financial advice.
No financial advice. And please hit me with your questions. I like talking about this, and I think it's important for everyone to know. And I want to do my due diligence to share. So hit me with your questions if you have any.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Coming. This is your house. You can come and pay us with crypto.
Yeah. You guys accept crypto?
Nosotros nos vamos con más música aquí en Mujeres y Yo. Chao, chao.
Chao.